So good morning to the BSc Nursing students. So today's topic is also regarding the pathology. So in pathology we are dealing with the musculoskeletal system. So yesterday we already completed the joint inflammations. In joint inflammation we already taught with this rheumatoid arthritis, and then now we'll deal with the gout arthritis, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, gout arthritis is the remaining topic. So with this joint arthritis will be completed. So before going to the gout arthritis, we'll see the definition. First definition is a gout is an heterogeneous group of the disease. Hetero means different. So it is an heterogeneous group of the disease and characterized by the hyperuricemia. So where here the plasma urate levels will be higher not. So it may be 6.8 mg per dl. So urate crystals depositions, these urate crystals will deposit in the joints and kidney also. So what is it? It is an heterogeneous group of the disease characterized by the increased hyperuricemia. So it is level is 6.8 mg per dl. These crystals will be deposited in the joints and the kidneys. So this is a classification. We'll go with the classification. Depending upon the etiological factors of the hyperuricemia, the gout may be classified as a primary and secondary. This primary means it is an idiopathic, occurs without any disease. So secondary means it will have with any association with the another illness. So it will be associated means it means the patient is suffering from if he is suffering from a kidney disease or he is suffering from any liver diseases, so it may cause this gout. So one of the complication for cirrhosis of liver and then this renal failure, chronic renal failure. So this hyperuricemia is one of the major complication for this. So it is called as a secondary disease. So it is the primary means without any disease, the idiopathic, the primary disease is an idiopathic. The idiopathic means unknown. So increased catabolism of the nucleic acids due to increased cell turnover. So because of the catabolism of the nucleic acid, there will be cell turnover. Examples are leukemia and cancers, and decreased uric acid. So there will be decreased excretion of the uric acid with normal production. So when we can be seen in the chronic renal failure. So this is thing. So these are the examples for this for secondary causes. So in leukemias, cancers, and then chronic renal failures. So one more thing, pathogenesis. We'll see with the pathogenesis what will be happening. So it is an end product of the purine metabolism. So it's purely it is a purine metabolism disorder. It is an end product of the it is a purine end product is an uric acid. So uric acid is an end product of the purine metabolisms, because that has to be generally it has to be excreted through the urine. So but it has to be excreted in the urine, but if not occurs, it may, if deposits, it may lead to the gout. And then generally in humans what happens, uricase, that is an enzyme which degrades the uric acids. So one enzyme is there that is an uricase. So that will degrade the uric acids, but but it is not seen in the human beings. So this uricase type of enzyme is not seen in the human beings. So it has to be excreted through the urine, and hyperuricemia is necessary. So obviously hyperuricemia is necessary but not sufficient for the development of the gout. So hyperuricemia will be there, but sometimes to development of the gout it is not sufficient. So in gout what will be happening extra, the uric acid crystallized in the form of, these uric acids will be crystallized in the form of monosodium urate. So these will be seen in the joints, tendons and sheaths and the surrounding tissues. This monosodium urate will triggers this monosodium urate with presence within the joints, tendons and sheaths in the surrounding tissues, which will trigger the inflammatory responses. So because of it may trigger the inflammatory responses, they may characterize as an acute attack. So it may have an acute attack. The acute arthritis usually remit in days to weeks. it can be seen for days to weeks. So repeated attack of this arthritis may lead to the chronic arthritis and tophi formation. I will show the tophi, what is that, and then tophi formation in the synovial membrane and periarticular tissue. So this is one type of lesion. Tophi is nothing but one type of lesion that will be formed in the synovial membrane and periarticular tissue. So first of all, it is a end product of the purine metabolism that has to be excreted through the urine. In human beings, we don't have a urease enzyme. Because of the urease enzyme, that help us to degrade the uric acid. So not only hyperuricemia will sufficient. So with the uric acid will crystallize. It will crystallize and form a form of monosodium urate. So it forms as a monosodium urates that in the joints, tendons, sheaths and surrounding tissues. So this will trigger the inflammatory responses and may causes the acute attacks. So these acute attacks may remain for days to weeks itself. If it is prolonged and repeated attacks, it may lead to the chronic arthritis and formation of the tophi. The tophi will be formed in the synovial membrane and periarticular tissues. We'll see with the morphology. So morphology in the gout is how it will be. Acute arthritis. So in acute arthritis, it is characterized by edema. So they will have edema, congestion, dense infiltration of the synovium by the neutrophils. So what will be happening? The patient in acute arthritis, the patient will be morphologically, we will see they will be having edema. So and congestion of the fingers and dense infiltration of the synovium by the infiltrates. So neutrophils will be infiltrate from the synovium. So it is a covering of the capsule, the synovial cavity, synovium. So and then in chronic tophaceous arthritis, this arthritis, what will be happening? The repeated attacks, because of the repeated attack, the tophi will be formed. Tophi is nothing but a lesion. The lesion consisting of large aggregates of monosodium urate crystals surrounded by the inflammatory reaction are known as tophi. So this is a lesion. It is a lesion having a monosodium crystals. So aggregates of monosodium crystals that is surrounded by the inflammatory reactions called tophi. That is so, and this in this gout, the tophi are commonly seen in the articular cartilage of the joint and then periarticular ligaments, tendons and soft tissues. So mostly it's in microscopically. When we see in the microscopically, it is also consisting of aggregates of the urate crystals surrounded by the macrophages, lymphocytes and other foreign body called giant cells. So this type of cells will be seen: macrophages, lymphocytes and foreign body giant cells. And the clinical manifestations, how they appear, they may appear as having a pain, joint pains and tenderness. Repeated attacks will have a tophi lesion formations will be seen. So obviously this chronic tophaceous gout can be developed in severely after 12 years. So prognosis, it does not reduce the lifespan but causes the morbidity. So we'll see the gout. So gout is what is meant by gout? It is an increased uremic levels, the hyperuremic levels in the joints, tendons and tendons. It can be seen. So mostly it is hyperuremic levels. How much? 6.8 mg per TL. So when we see with it is actually pathogenesis, it is a purine metabolism. Generally it is a purine metabolism disorder. This purine metabolism, end product of the purine metabolism is nothing but uric acid. So not only the uric acid, this uric acid crystals, so these uric acids will crystallize and form the monourate crystals. So these monourate crystals will be monosodium urate crystals will aggregate and form like a tophi formation. So and moreover these monosodium crystals will have a inflammatory reactions, so it may causes the tophi formation. So microscopically when we see morphologically when we see the patient, how it will look, it may have a edema, congestion, infiltration of the lymphocytes and neutrophils into the synovium. These all can be seen. So when we see in the microscope also, there is a urate crystals that are surrounded by the neutrophils, lymphocytes and some of the giant cells can be seen. So this chronic can be long last for 12 years. This acute can be days to weeks itself. So it may cause mostly morbidity. So we'll go with another topic, that is in bone tumors. In bone tumors, so in every class, in every system we had seen the tumors. So in this system also we are seeing the bone tumors. So generally bone tumors are classified maybe primary and secondary. So according to the histology, it has been classified. The histology means bone forming. So bone forming, because of the bone forming, osteoma, it is a benign, malignant is an osteosarcoma. Cartilage forming, so because of the cartilage forming, it is an osteochondroma and then chondrosarcoma. So these are the malignant. Osteochondroma is a benign, osteochondrosarcoma is a malignant. Hemopoietic, so hemopoietic there are two, that is a myeloma and lymphomas. So unknown origin, because of the unknown origin, this giant cell tumors and wing sarcoma can be seen, and notochord is in chordoma. So these are the malignant tumors. So these are the benign tumors and these are the malignant tumors. So benign tumors are osteomas, osteochondromas and giant cell tumors. So malignant tumors are osteosarcomas, chondrosarcoma, myeloma, lymphoma, and then wing sarcoma and chondroma. So these can be seen. So we will see one by one. So this is osteochondroma. So this is what is it? This osteochondroma is a cartilage forming thing. So we had seen the cartilage forming. There is a benign tumor. It is the most common benign cartilage cap tumor which attaches to the underlying bone by the stalk. So it will be attaches to the underlying which the bone is there will by the help of the stalk ante you know what is meant by the stalk. So it is a benign cartilage type of the tumor, cap tumor, so cap like tumor which will be attached to the bone by its stalk, having presence of stalk. So age, mostly it occurs in the late adolescence and early adulthood. So it can be seen in late adolescence or early adulthood. So men are more affected 3 times more than the woman. The sites and locations, so it arises from the metaphysis and near the growth plate. So when we see in the anatomy, you know which one is the metaphysis, which one is the diaphysis. So it will arises from the metaphysis, okay, near the growth plate. So near the growth plate, okay, near the growth plate, if it is there means, so in late adolescence the growth will be sometimes growth will not be there, it will have some problems. And then long tubular bones, mostly especially about the knee. So it can be seen in the knee, and exact site of the location it can be at the point of metaphysis near the growth plate, okay. And then especially it can be seen about the seen in the long tubular bones, especially knee bones. So this thing, so it is in cartilage type. It is a caput. The caput tumor attaches to the underlying bone by its stalk. Adolescence, it can be seen in late adolescence, early adulthood. Men are more affected than the women. Site and location, it metaphysis near the growth plate. It can be seen in the knee mostly. And then osteochondromas. So these osteochondromas are mushroom shape. Mostly it's stalk, having a stalk and then this round shaped structure. Because of this appearance, it looked like a mushroom shaped, and the cap is composed of benign hyaline cartilage. So it is having a benign hyaline cartilage and underlying lamellar bone. So we are having a lamellar bone also it is having. So it is a morphologically, it is a sessile or mushroom shaped. So you will remember by seeing the mushroom you can able to know it is an osteochondromas. So because of the cap is composed of what is it composed? Hyaline cartilage. It is a benign hyaline cartilage. Underlying beneath it is having a lamellar bone. And the clinical manifestation, mostly it will look like a mass and can be detected incidental findings. So, and moreover, giant cell tumors. So, in giant cell tumors, it is locally aggressive and potential malignant neoplasms. It is also osteoclastoma. So, it is also called as an osteoclastoma. It is a malignant neoplasm. So, when we giant cell tumor exhibition, and then osteoclastoma, it is usually seen between the age of 20 to 40 years of age. Sex, it has a slight it has having a slight for females. So it mostly having for females. Cell origin, it is a primitive stromal cells. So because of the primitive means premature stromal cells, it can be seen. Morphologically, this giant cell tumors arises from the epiphysis. So it will be arises from epiphysis. The bone involved is a knee area. So mostly involvement can be seen in the knee area, distal humerus and proximal tibial, and lower end of the radius humerus, and then fibula. This gross appearance, how it appears like a large circumscribed tumors, and cut surface of the soft and red brown due to because of hemorrhagic there will be a cystic degeneration and necrosis can also be seen. So it will be a large and circumscribed tumor. Cut section will see the soft and red brown due to because of hemorrhagic areas. And then area of cystic degeneration and necrosis are common. It is composed of multinucleated osteoclast. So it is composed of multinucleated osteoclast type giant cells and uniformly distributed in the background of the mononuclear cells, that is a neoplastic. So it is composing of multinucleated osteoclast. So more nucleated osteoclast can be seen. So these will be uniformly distributed in the background of the mononuclear cells. So in the background of the mononuclear cells, these now numerous multinucleated osteoclasts can be distributed. And then diagnosis it will be depend upon the morphology of these cells. So radiological appearance. So in radiological, how it is? So radiology means X-ray appearance. So how it will be seen? The tumor is having a same multiloculated appearance, which gives soap bubble appearance. So it will look like a soap bubbles. So you know the soap bubbles, how will it look? So it may appear like that. Clinical manifestations, you know that. So when we see in the X-ray, definitely you have to write this specific findings and every that has to be you kept in the papers and matter. So tumor, when we see the radiologically multiloculated and gives soap bubble appearance. Clinical manifestations, pain, arthritis like symptoms, biological behavior majority behave in benign fashion. So majority will behave in benign fashion, but tumors may reoccur locally. So the tumors recur. The spread, how the spread will be there? It is usually restricted with an involved bone only. The metastasis, it may metastate to the site in the lung. So Ewing sarcoma. So this Ewing sarcoma is a primary malignant cell around the bone. It is a primary malignant cell around the bone on soft tissues, mostly seen in 10 to 15 years of age. Sex more frequently in boys than the girls. So 2:1 ratio. Mostly it can be seen in the whites. So we are having a differentiation between in Americans previously whites and blacks. So we are mostly seen in the whites. Origin, precursor cells of Ewing sarcoma. So PNET is an This primitive neuroectodermal tumor is multipotent mesenchymal stem cell. So it is a mesenchymal stem cell. So first of all, Ewing sarcoma, it is a malignant. It can be seen around the bone and soft tissues, mostly seen in 10 to 15 years of age, mostly seen in the boys than the girls, and then whites can be seen. This morphology, location and site. So they arises in the medullary cavity of the diaphysis of the long bones. So it will be arises from the medullary cavity. So these tumors will arise from the medullary cavity of diaphysis of long bones, humerus, tibia and femur. So gross, it will be very soft, greyish white, tan white or white, greyish white or tan white, and frequently shows areas of hemorrhage and necrosis. So it is a self-understandable topic. So this will be mostly, we are having a medullary cavity and cortex cavity. When discussed in the anatomy, we discussed, so we are having a outer cortex part and inner medullary part. So this usually arises from the medullary cavity of the diaphysis of the long bones. So you got it? It may seen in the diaphysis of the long bone, mostly humerus, tibia and femur. So gross. So gross, it is a soft and greyish white. So it is very soft greyish white or tan white, frequently because of frequently having a hemorrhage and necrosis. Microscopically, it consisting of sheets and closely packed, uniform small nodes around the cells. So this can be how it will be look. It will be having sheets of closely packed. So it will be seen like that, and uniform small nodes around the cells. And then tumor may have scant and light cytoplasm. So and cytoplasm will appear very clear and rich in glycogen. So tumor cells may form Homer whiter rosettes, in which the tumor cells are arranged in the circles and about the central fibulary spaces. The necrosis may be prominent. So mostly the overall we have to see this microscopically. When see the sheets, it may look like sheets of closely packed. So and then closely packed one thing, and when we see it is been arranged uniformly, small nodules around the cells. The tumor cells have a scanty, it will be having a scanty or little cytoplasm can be seen. This cytoplasm is very clear because why it is because it is a very rich in glycogen. So because of rich in glycogen, it is a very clear cytoplasm will look very clear. So this radiographical findings, when we see the radiographical findings, it produces onion skin pattern. So the periosteal new bone formation produces this periosteum. The periosteum will look like a new, that is new bone has been formed, and how it look onion skin pattern. So onion skin pattern ela untada, it will be look like that. So when we see in the radiography, the clinical manifestation, because of the presence of these tumor cells within the diaphysis, so it will definitely, they will be having a painful enlargement mass, tender, warm and swollen bones can be seen. So osteosarcoma, this is osteosarcoma, most common, 20% of the malignant bone tumor. This is an osteosarcoma. It is a highly malignant bone tumor. This is very important. Osteosarcoma is it is a very malignant bone tumor characterized by formation of bone matrix or osteoids. So unmineralized bone by malignant tumor cells. So age group 10 to 20 years of age can be seen. Boys are more common than the girls. So morphologically it will arises in the, it is also arises in the metaphyseal region of the long bones of the extremities site. It is usually arises near the knee and shoulders. So it is usually where it will be arising, knee and shoulders. Common site is in lower femur, upper tibia, fibula, proximal humerus. So mostly this gross, how will it look? It is a big and bulky tumors. This tumors will be very big and bulk tumors, and grey white in color and gritty, so and shows areas of hemorrhage. So it is grey white white appearance, and some having a hemorrhages and cystic degenerations. So cystic will be degeneration. The tumor that may extend up to the soft tissues and gives rise appearance of mutton leg appearance. So it is usually like that. So the tumor may extend up to the adjacent soft tissues and gives rise to mutton leg appearance. So usually because of bulkiness. Microscopically, when we consisting of pleomorphic tumor cells, so it is having a pleomorphic tumor cells. This because the cells pleomorphic means the cells will be vary in their size, shape with hyperchromatin nuclei. So the chromatin levels will be more in that nuclei and often shows mitotic figures. So it often shows mitotic. So this is having a consisting of pleomorphic tumor cells. So tumor cells means it may vary in the size and shape with having a hyperchromatic nuclei, often shows mitotic figure. So Bizarre tumors, giant cells these tumors are very common, and production of osteoids. This production of osteoids, unmineralized or uncalcified or bone calcified osteoid is by the malignant cell tumors. So the diagnostic feature of the osteosarcoma. So the diagnostic feature we will see unmineralized or non-classified, calcified. So because of the presence of osteoids in the bone, so unmineralized and non-classified can be seen. And then clinical features: the painful and progressive enlarging mass around the knee or other involved site. The involved area will be swollen and tender. It is the involved area will be swollen and tender. They may spread to the adjacent structures. So adjacent joints become reduced. The movement can be reduced. So when we see the radiological findings, mostly large destructive mass can be seen. So frequent infiltration of the cortex and lift of the periosteum can be seen. So when we see this, the space between the cortex and elevated periosteum radiographically appears triangle shadow known as Codman triangle. So what is meant by this means the space which is present between the cortex, so it is an outer layer, and elevated because of the elevation of the periosteum, because of the presence of the tumor in the over there, because of this elevation of the periosteum, it will look like a triangle shadow. This shadow is called as Codman triangle. So you got it, I think so. So what is this? It large because of this destructive mass is there. So there is it may frequently infiltrate the cortex and lifts the periosteum. So what will happen? Frequently that will be infiltration into the cortex. So this mass will be infiltrate into the cortex, and then the periosteum will be lifted. So because of the periosteum lifted and cortex, the tumor is infiltrated into the cortex. Because of this is elevated and it is infiltrated. It may look like the triangle shadow appearance, and then malignant tumor extend into the soft tissue. So it may extend up to extend tissue, and then one more thing is there. We'll see sunburn burst. We'll see what is it. Malignant tumor that may extend into the soft tissues, parallel lines of the mineral deposition. So periosteal region gives appearance of rays of sun. So how it look? The sun rays how will come? It will look like so. Because of this extension into the soft tissues and parallel line mineral depositions in the periosteum region, it may use look of the sunburst appearance because of it extension into the soft tissues. So local spread, how it will be spread? It may invade the adjacent cortex, medulla, cavity, epiphysis into the soft tissues and skin. Blood spread, it may spread into the lungs, less common to the other bones. Mostly sometimes it may spread to the pleura, brain and heart also. So we'll see with the chondrosarcoma. So the chondrosarcoma is also a malignant tumor. It is characterized by the production of the neoplastic cartilage. So one more thing, age group usually found in individuals of 40 years of age, that is a 4th to 6th decades of the life. So mostly males are more prone. There is a 2:1 ratio. Morphologically how it looks, chondrosarcoma will arise. This will be arise from the central medullary cavity. So it will arise from the central medullary cavity of pelvic bones, shoulder, ribs, long bones. Grossly how it appears, it may have appears like a large bulk tumors. This bulk tumors, cut section shows light and blue nodules and translucent glistering areas. So light blue nodules with translucent glistering areas and mucoid field. It is having a mucoid. Because of presence of this mucoid, it will appear like a translucent glistering appearance. Central necrosis may be create cystic spaces. So central necrosis can be, sometimes central necrosis may create the cystic spaces. Microscopically how it look. So when we see in the microscope, this malignant cartilage cells are various stages of maturity. So depending upon the degree of cellularity, cytology or mitotic activity, because of these activities it has to be graded up to the 1 to 3. So because of this it will be differs. So and moreover, radiologically how will we show the tumor may be medullary cavity with poorly defined borders. So it does not have any borders, well differentiated. It is not a well differentiated tumor radiologically. And then we can't able to differentiate, we'll go with the CT findings also. So clinical features, in clinical features mostly the pain, mass appearance, biological behavior of the tumor, it may depend upon the how the behavior, it may depends upon the histology, how it has been spread. Chondrosarcoma generally local aggressive tumor. It may metastasize up to the lungs or other bones and the skeleton of the skeleton. So with this we'll complete. We had seen these tumors, osteosarcoma, chondrosarcomas, all this type of tumors, how it look and morphologically how it appears. So with this I'll complete my pathology topics, complete topics. If any topics are remaining, so please let me know which are the topics I have to deal with. So thank you. Give your attendance.